What's going on, YouTube? You are on the lifeboat. And this is Captain Calhoun. What's going on? It's been a while. Oh, you may not even have heard that. Oh my. Go to work for 20 hours and all of a sudden your desk is all tore up, nothing fits. This is Captain Calhoun. You are on the lifeboat. Hello. Let's try that again. What's going on, guys? Marcy, Dennis, Heather, good to see you guys. Cliff and Ferguson, Robin Miners, hello, hello, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Roberta, Craig, Dee Dee, hey man, I missed you guys. Craig says Casper needs to fix that graphic. The hand to the left of the boat is all kinds of wrong. I didn't notice anything. I thought it looked pretty majestic myself. I'll take a second look, I guess. I'm sure it's fine. What's going on, Craig? Good to see you. Katrina, hello, hello. John Lazan, nice to meet you. I am Captain Calhoun. I am Tommy, the Admiral's son. And I usually do a morning slot, but I've been working crazy hours, and one of my biggest challenges is time. I was going to say time management, but I intended to say organization. And it's hard to stay organized and manage my time when I'm not getting what I need and I'm exerting myself too much. So that's my excuse for why I haven't been around regularly. We'll get back on to some regularly scheduled programming here very shortly, I'm sure. But I'm happy to be here. I just declined 2 shifts because they were in the middle of the night and they were 12 hours. And I don't think I want to do that. Who the heck wants to work for 12 hours? And I mean, I'm sure that there are a bunch of you out there that do this. I don't know if I'm built like that, man. I tell you what, I was at our second lunch on my last shift I worked, which was second lunches after 10 hours, right? I was sitting on the steps. You kind of go like down into the basement, and that's where the desk is set up. So when you leave for break, there's like an hour walk away for lunch. You have to go out of this complex, and it's a lot of walking. And my legs were like injured. I was hurting. I was like limping around. I was like walking up these steps trying to decide where I'm going to go for lunch. And I have to walk there. And I was looking at the map, and it's like the closest one was like 0.6 miles. I was like, I don't think that I'm going to do this again, you know? So there's that. Just been trying to feel human again. I'm still sober. I'm still doing the thing, right? But I have to say the balancing act becomes much more tricky when you insert stuff like that. Krista, Melinda, what's going on? Anita, I'm doing all right. I'm feeling more human by the moment. I don't know if I'll be 100% tomorrow, but I'm pretty darn close today. You know what I mean? Feeling pretty darn good. Feeling pretty close. The key, I think, is going to be to get the tidying done, the exercise in today, and make sure I don't skip a meal. And then I think tomorrow I'll be 100%. Tomorrow will be 100%. Most of the time, I feel like there's an invisible wall between myself and like what I want to get done, between my thoughts and my actions. And it's the damnedest thing. That's the easiest way for me to describe it. I'll sit there and think about the actions that I want to take for inordinate amounts of time. And it's not that I want to be thinking about these things. It's that I get stuck churning the options or like looking at it from different perspectives, whatever it is. I get stuck between the thought and the action. And that's something I've been trying to rectify. I've been trying to figure out exactly what the nature of that is. Why is that? And honestly, I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with my adult ADHD being untreated, right? I haven't been to a doctor since I was 14 for that. So more than half my life ago. So I think I can afford a doctor now. So hopefully we can get that figured out. I'll keep you guys in the loop. Imagine if there was just, a treatment, a magical medication, or I don't know, lifestyle, anything, just something that could take that struggle away. That would be pretty cool. Maybe that's a pipe dream, but I'm going to find out. I promise you that. Laura May, hello, hello. John Lawson says 12 hours fitting welding. I tell you what, it's not for the faint of heart. Much respect, dude. Much respect. 20 and a half years sober from alcohol by the grace of God. I tell you what, man, that is a big deal. That's a lot of time. I've only ever had about 2 years. I'm coming up on two again for the second, third time, not the first time at the end of this month. Wish me luck, man. I'm working on it. I'm sticking to it. Dude, that's crazy though. 20 years, 20 and a half years. That's awesome. That's inspiring. Did I look into 5-HTP? I remember reading that on my last live, and I must have gotten distracted because I didn't respond. I'm aware of 5-HTP, and I don't know. I may have some in my drawer. I forgot to revisit that after. It must have been you that brought it up. I should get some though. It's probably going to be really good. I bet you money I did more damage with alcohol than I did with crack cocaine. I mean, the amount of time that I spent doing blow was a very small amount of time in comparison to like my lifetime partying career, right? I mean, I spent over half my life abusing alcohol, not just like having a drink, right? But absolutely abusing it. Um, I'm almost certain that that's probably the most damaging face of my addiction at this point, at least. I mean, who knows what's to come, right? Obviously, I would like to just keep on the path that I'm on, but you never know. You never know. Try not to make reservations. How is everyone? I usually come on here and talk about me. How are you guys doing though? I tell you what, I've missed you, and you probably know exactly how I'm doing. Because I talk about it so damn much. How are you guys doing? Anita, Laura, Robin, Marcy, Kristen? How you guys doing? Heather, Dennis? One day at a time. That's right. That's all we can do. Sometimes, honestly, it's one moment at a time. Sometimes we really break that down into manageable steps, bite-sized pieces. Doing okay, says Marcy. Well, it's better than not okay, I always say. I find that I'm often feeling quite neutral, right? Just okay. I try to remind myself that that's better than not okay, right? That helps me keep it positive. Good, thanks. Hot here in South Africa. I tell you what, I bet it is. It's kind of chilly outside today. I guess it's going to be about 60 degrees here today, which I guess that's really not that cold, but for Tucson, it's pretty chilly. Dee Dee Razzle Dazzle says, I had physical therapy today, and it was really hard making myself go there. Glad it's over. I'll tell you what, I'm glad you're home. I'm glad you got it done because I'm sure your body is going to thank you or is thanking you, right? For doing so. Robin says, just did some guided meditation with my therapist. Very helpful. I used to do this when I was a younger man. I used to do lots of guided meditation with therapists. There's a lot of concepts that I think that deserve revisiting in my adult life that I completely dismissed in my childhood as crockpot stuff. And I think that that's largely due to my experience. But I don't think that my initial conclusions drawn, aka that all of this stuff is a load of crap, I don't think that those were accurate judgments on my part. Especially we're so different physiologically, mentally. We're just different as children than as we are as adults. I think I should revisit that stuff. If I'm going to revisit like the possibility of taking medication for ADHD, right? If I'm going to revisit that as a realistic possible solution rather than something I'm not into, I think that only it only makes sense to revisit therapy and other things like that I have previously written off as BS. And for those of you that have been here for a while, for a long time, following me, my experience with medication as a child and with therapy and with doctors, and it just wasn't good. It was terrible. It was like I was a guinea pig on a wheel, and they told me to run. It was pretty terrible. But that's all perception based. I don't think that as an adult that it will be anything like that. In fact, I'm most likely, especially because I'm an adult, will have what's the word? Autonomy. I'll have I'm management now. You know what I mean? No one's going to decide for me. I get to decide. So I think that'll definitely make the experience more digestible for me. I try to do this all the time. I tell you what, John. And whenever I tell him this, he says, "Don't worry about that. Make yourself proud." And I think that's a great piece of advice. But I'm always trying to make my dad proud, my family proud. Everyone that like stuck their neck out for me, you know what I mean? Everyone that put their nuts on the line for me when I was down bad, like I try to make them proud. I think about them when I'm doing things that I don't want to be doing. You know what I mean? I think about them when I'm struggling, when I'm pushing, like on that 12-hour shift. That's what I was thinking about. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to kill myself to not let them down, right? I'm only letting myself down in that instance. So try to also keep it in perspective. And you know what? I think he is proud. He tells me he's proud all the time, which really makes a boy feel good. I tell you what. really really makes a boy feel good. Stuff I need to hear. I'm management now. I tell you what. For a long time, and I mean I'm 32. Like legally I've been an adult for like 10, 12 years. I'm not doing math. I've never felt like management. Literally, I've never really felt like my life was my own. And even today, there's still, you know, exceptions. If is that the right way to say that? There's still aspects of my life that I don't necessarily feel like the manager of. But I definitely feel the most managerial I've ever felt. Robin says, I think anything pushed onto you as a child in childhood will always be resisted as an adult. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? One of the best examples of reverse psychology, except it's not like intentional, right? It's just a reaction. I bet you this was the model example for contrary or not contrary action. What was I saying? Reverse psychology. Beth Bo ho hobo, what's going on? I'm struggling today. I committed to a horrible job on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and it's complicated to get out of. I hate it. It's all I can do to make it to Thursdays and Fridays. I tell you what, I literally just went through this over the weekend. I don't know if I like misread the hours of the shifts that I accepted or if they changed them after the fact because sometimes they do that, like depending on the client's needs and stuff. But I was like, wow, this is a terrible job. I don't want to do this. But I was like 20 hours deep or 15 hours deep at that point. Just had to keep going. Mary O, what's going on? You didn't miss much. Just kind of updating what's going on. And now we're talking about the crew and how the crew's doing. How are you, Mary O? What's going on? What's new? Thank you for saying this, John. I'm working on it. I don't feel awesome a lot of the time, I tell you what. But also probably a perspective based, right? Like it's in my own head kind of thing, right? And that's I think the mental health is such an important piece of at least my journey. It's not just addiction that I'm battling. I think the addiction was a symptom of my lack of like having what I need. And a lot of that I think is mental deficiencies. Not that I'm not intelligent, obviously, right? I just mean that like I said, that invisible wall, is that just a like is that the manifestation of my what they call attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? Is that what that is? It's curious. I don't think actually defining and finding these answers, right, is that big of a deal. I think finding a solution is what matters, right? As long as I can find a way to, with or without medication, right? I'm not attached to that idea at all. In fact, I'm more nervous about the medication idea than anything, given my history, right? But if I can find a solution, if I can find a way to remove the difficulty of transitioning between my thoughts and my actions, the world is my oyster. And I mean, the world's my oyster anyways, but I can't tell you how much that would change my life. Organization wouldn't be such an issue because I wouldn't have a hard time transitioning into the action portion. I think that's the biggest contributor to my lack of organization or my struggles with it, as at the very least. Anita says adulting sucks, but would you go back to being a kid? I don't know if I'm down. I don't know if I'd be willing to go back. You make me smile, Boho. Well, John, your family's lucky to have a man like you. You know what I mean? I We just met, but I feel like you're solid. I appreciate you sharing and participating, man. Yard work was punishment. I hate yard work to this day. I tell you what, I don't have a yard to do work in, so I find myself wishing that I did. But as soon as I did, I would wish I had someone to do it for me. I miss doing my grandparents' yard work in Salt Lake. That was a good time. It was a good time. Uh, Mario's having some emotional struggles right now, finding a way through. Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. I was just saying I always talk about me on here, but I rarely ask you guys how you're doing and, kind of, you know, see what's up with y'all. So figured we'd switch it up today. I'm not that important. I'm just a guy. I hope your emotional struggles find a conclusion, I'm sure that there will always be emotional struggles to be had in our lives, but it's nice to for some of them to come to an end right before the next ones start. Recently, I have been experiencing more free flowing emotions than I have in the last like 15, 16 years. I definitely feel, I don't know, like I'm healing, closer to whole, closer to human. Only human. Go back to 20, lol. I wonder what was I doing when I was 20? I think I was still homeless in Fort Collins. Tony was still alive. And I think I wasn't old enough to drink yet. I was probably still with what was the other fake name I gave my other ex-girlfriend? Roxanne, I think was the fake name. I was probably still with her. Memory lane. I tell you what, so much has happened. It seems like an entirely different life and a different person. Some of those decisions, very impactful decisions, right? Like forks in the road in my past seem so far away, so distant. I can't remember making them. Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? Joni Allen says, definitely don't want to go back. Yeah, I hear you. I tell you what, I have worked far too damn hard and I've come too dang far, to be backtracking. Dee Dee Razzle Dazzle has been revisiting some of their favorite bands and singers. Amy Winehouse is one of my favorites of all time. Brilliant, had a great voice. Who are your favorite bands? Well, this is always such an interesting question because I listen to such broad ranges of music. And, my favorites are probably the least commercially popular. Like I always come back to, well, I shouldn't say that. Rap's pretty commercially popular. It wasn't always, but I always come back to metal. And I don't mean like Twisted Sister metal or Metallica, which are great, right? Judas Priest, I'm into it. But I'm talking like Whitechapel or like Despised Icon or Suffocation or Brain Drill. I actually don't like that band, but they have a good name. But some more digestible stuff. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers was my first favorite band of all time. To this day, I'm a huge fan. I like Led Zeppelin a lot. Let's try and hit some other genres, huh? I want to say Revolution for reggae, but I don't really ever choose to listen to them. When I'm feeling dancey, I'll put on some hip hop that I can feel, or if you're into electronic stuff, I like Charles the First a lot. Rest in peace. One word. Charles the First does a lot of, I don't know what I would call it. It's trap influenced, I guess. but it's not. I like Old Crow Medicine Show way too much. If you're into bluegrass, down in Utah, Alabama. Yeah, I like that band a lot. What about you, Dee Dee? What kind of stuff are you into other than Amy Winehouse? I was trying to think of some other singers like that. There's really nobody like Amy though. Boho says, I got myself into this. I'm a magnet to narcissists who are awful, working on that. This is something that I hear from people a lot. I wonder what we do to magnetize ourselves such. It must be, and I don't know why I said must because I have no idea what it must be, but I wonder if it's like our perspective or like what we're looking for, and we don't understand that we're actually what we're looking for, like what that entails. I wonder exactly what causes this because this is definitely not an uncommon phenomenon. Phenomena. Hey, Leanne, good to see you. Over 3 weeks sober. Let's go. Wow. It's a big deal. Congratulations. That first, the first bit seems the most powerful and impactful. I continually, I'm coming up on 2 years at the end of the month. I continually like realize how I'm doing better in different ways that like things are getting better and like my brain is functioning more and my heart doesn't feel so hurt like all the time. But I have to say, like I noticed the most change in myself in the initial bit. So keep up the good work, Leanne. That's awesome. It's also the most difficult, most pungent part. Heather Griffin, hello from New Zealand. What's going on? I've never been. I've always wanted to, though. Can we talk about boundaries? One of my favorites. We can. We definitely can do that. Let me assemble some boundary thoughts as I catch up in the chat. What's going on, Tommy Bird? Good to see you. What's going on? I'm doing much better than I have been. How are you, Tommy? An entirely different life. It was, wasn't it? Black and white different. And I like to go by Michael instead of Mike. I feel like Mike was that person that was living that life. At least that's I don't know how I think about it. At least, obviously, it's not that important to identify, but it helps me separate old and new me. Interesting. My boundary setter is broken. Was lost in childhood. No boundary equals misery. I'm working on that too. Well, I tell you what. Usually, let me think about this before I make arbitrary statements. I feel like when we're not setting effective boundaries, when we're having trouble understanding boundaries, when we're struggling with boundaries in general at all, I feel like it's generally due. A lot of the times, it can be due um, to my relationship with myself or some aspect of it being wrong. Um, like, do I value myself enough to set a boundary to protect what's inside the boundary? Right? Do I hold myself in a high enough regard for it even to matter? Because I tell you what, I don't know if you're like me, but if you're like me, if something doesn't like if I don't deem something to be important enough, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Like I have to assign value in my head, otherwise it doesn't exist. Um, and that might just be a part of my ADHD as well. But I had to love myself and find reasons to protect me. Before that, I was just throwing myself into walls, through doorways. Hey, what's going on in here? No thought as to what may happen. And I don't know if that's what you got going on, Boho, but um, You know, for me to initially learn how to set boundaries, I had to get a little selfish. And that didn't feel good because, we're taught selfishness is bad, self centeredness is bad. You want to be giving and giving. Well, I was given more than I had to give. I was given so much that I was left out. It made me happy to give things, even if I had nothing to give, even if it was going to leave me out. That action gave me satisfaction and fulfillment, right? Um, it made me feel a little bit of value. It made me feel a little bit more worth it. Well, in reality, I was worth it all along. And it was just the way I was thinking about things that were putting me in these positions. And again, I don't know if that's what you're going through, but just some seeds to plant. I don't know, just some stuff to chew on. If it's not you, it's not you. But hopefully it is, and then we can move forward, right? Then we can find ways to work through it, right? Because that's my goal is to share experience in a way that hopefully it'll help, right? Subconsciously don't care about myself. Well, how about this? Why don't you take yourself out on a date? Why don't you do something real nice for yourself? Even if you don't take yourself out, maybe you shut yourself in, get nice and cozy, have like a TV dinner. I don't know, but treat yourself to something nice. I try to do so on a regular ish basis. It's not always feasible to do so, right? But when I have the opportunities, I try to put that on the priority list, right? This is something I'm going to do today. I'm gonna give myself a mani pedi, right? Or I'm just gonna lay down and sleep in a little bit, whatever it is. But starting to think about yourself in that light, starting to find opportunities to treat yourself will get those gears in your head working in the right direction. It'll jumpstart that relationship with yourself, right? Yourself. Diane Reese, good to see you. My friend was prescribed Wellbutrin for ADHD, says Beta, off label. It helps manage some ADHD traits and or treat the co-occurring anxiety slash depression. Did you try this before? I can't remember a lot of the things that I've tried, but I bet you I've tried it. I'm pretty sure I've tried everything that they have. Well, I mean, it's been about 15 years since I was on the hamster wheel. So if there's something new in those last 14 years, I probably haven't tried it. But I mean, I imagine I've tried Wellbutrin. At this point, my experience with whatever drugs I was prescribed as a kid, that experience is so far removed from like my current, like what's going on right now in my life and who I am. And I don't even know if I did remember specific names. And like, for example, like obviously I remember Adderall. It's pretty mainstream. Everybody knows that. A lot of people party with it. Even if I remembered my experience with Adderall as a kid, I don't think it would be well, applicable now. So I'm definitely open to it, but I need to go find a professional to help me out with it, right? Wellbutrin to me is just the same as Adderall, just the same as Strattera. And again, I know in my mind, I know Strattera is non-narcotic, right? And I know Wellbutrin is not the same chemical composition of things like Ritalin and Adderall, right? It's an entirely different drug. So I know those things, but as far as like what they're going to do to me and how they're going to make me feel, so above my pay grade. So I'm currently looking for a doctor. Keep yourself, or not keep yourself, stay tuned. I will keep you guys in the loop, and I'm very, very excited and have high anticipation to see what happens. Um, yeah. I appreciate the suggestion, Vita. I I'm so I don't want to use the word anxious because I feel like it has a negative connotation, but like I'm so excited. Let's use that word to find out or to discover, to go on this journey and find conclusion, right? Even if the conclusion is this isn't working, right? I'm excited to find out. The question has been gnawing at me like a splinter in the mind. Speaking of splinters in the mind, I was talking earlier about that invisible wall that I feel like is always between my thoughts and my actions. And it could also be described as a splinter in the mind. That's what it feels like. It's like an itch you can't scratch. And it's not, I tried to describe this to my dad without the sliver in the mind part, just the itch you can't scratch, and he took it a different way. And I can't remember. I don't think it matters though because I'm using the proper way to describe it now. It feels like there's a splinter in my mind that I can't get rid of. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like something's wrong all the time. And then I get stuck in my head trying to move into action. It's the strangest thing. Can anybody relate with that? Boho asks, "How old are you, Calhoun? You remind me of my son in many ways. Even the man bun." Well, I'm 32. I'll be 33 in 9 days. Wow. Is it really? Yeah, my birthday is not this Friday, but the following. That's cool. Another 365 around the sun. Okay. So I feel like I have brain fog in addition to splinter in the mind. I feel like those are two different things that I experience simultaneously. Andrew B, good to see you. How are you? How are you? Is that what procrastination is, Kristen? Because usually when I procrastinate, it's intentional. You know what I mean? Usually when I procrastinate, I think to myself, I'm not going to do that right now. This is something different. This is me trying to stand up and go do the dishes, or like me trying to get off of the couch and like grab my sweatshirt so that I can put my shoes on and go outside. But I'm stuck on the couch thinking about it. I probably am doing a poor job of describing it, but it's definitely not procrastination. Sandra Ferguson, my B day is tomorrow. Let's go. I have a cupcake over there. It's out of reach. Tomorrow, when it is your birthday, I'll pull it out. Tommy Bird's birthday is Monday. Oh my. 43 years passing in the blink of an eye, huh, Tommy? That's crazy. Dude, you've had the wisdom now for almost 3 years. How does it feel? Yeah, happy early birthday to the both of you. Happy early birthday to the both of you. This is true, John. I tell you what, they say my foundation of recovery I got in AA many years ago, and the 12th step is all about taking someone else through the steps, giving the gift that you were given, right, to someone else and helping them. And, and the thing about that, they used to talk about it as like, this is the work after the work, right? This is going to continue to keep you sharp. You're basically going to go through the steps again by taking someone else through the steps. So I think it's very apt that you bring this up, John. By helping us, you're helping yourself, and that is absolutely true. Without this, I'm not right, man. I tell you what, working all those extra hours was like a triple-edged sword. Because not only was I working like so much that I wasn't eating and sleeping right, but I also was working so much that I wasn't able to fit this into my routine. So then I'm going throughout my day like on bare knuckle. What's it called? Yeah, not bare knuckle, white knuckle recovery, which is booty work. If you've ever white knuckled it, it's for the birds. You know what I mean? Not the Tommy birds, just the birds. Just for the record, just to be clear. Question, Captain Calhoun, do you still have an email you like folks to use, or are you swamped right now? I'm swamped like every other moment. So like uh today is no different from tomorrow, is no different from yesterday. Like every day is the exact same amount of like I don't know if I have the bandwidth for it or not. So I do have an email, and I would love for you to email me. If I don't respond immediately, just please don't take it personal. I'm not making judgments. I'm just not like I'm sitting on the couch trying to find out how to put my sweatshirt on. You know what I mean? But that email is, hold on. Oh my, lost my mouse. tobcalhoun@gmail.com is where you can reach me most of the time. Sometimes I'll log into there and there'll be like 5 or 6 messages, 10 messages, 12 messages just sitting there waiting, like that I haven't looked at. And they've been there for God knows how long, and I feel so bad. But I want you guys to know I'm just doing my best. I'm doing everything I can, and sometimes an email is more than I can fathom, which sounds ridiculous. I know. I feel ridiculous saying it, but it's the truth. Anita says it was 37 degrees here today. Oh my Lord. Had to wear my bee suit. White knuckled it all the way. I mean, sometimes that's all we can do, right? It's just, it sucks. It sucks. White knuckling it. Luckily, there's the option to white knuckle it, right? Luckily, I have some modicum of grit, right? And I have the ability to white knuckle it just a bit, right? So I'm glad you were able to, at the very least, because the alternative is not what we want. Not what we want. Archspire from British Columbia, dude. Some of my favorite metal bands are from Canada and Toronto, Ontario. I can't wait to look this band up. Let me write it down or I'll forget. Hold on. Despised Icon is one of my all-time favorite metal bands, and they're from Ontario, I believe. I might be wrong. If Izzy was here, she would know. I'm pretty sure they're from the same place. Again, I've been wrong many times, many times in my life. Mocked says you get to be human. Thank you. I have to remind myself that sometimes. I do hold myself to high, unrealistic standards. Even if I'm not able to reach them, I definitely I know my potential, right? I know how great I am. I know who I am. Even if I absolutely struggle to be that person sometimes. But I really appreciate you. I have to remind myself all the time. Only human. Boho, this is interesting you say that. I talk about my long distance girlfriend a lot. And we have the same kind of whatever's going on in my head, she has the same struggles. I don't want to say ADHD, but I think that's what we both have. Whatever the case, my brain struggles are hers. And part of that is messaging back and forth. So sometimes one of us will message the other and won't it'll just fade into oblivion. That doesn't mean that I didn't read it or she didn't read it. That just means we didn't respond. You know what I mean? And neither of us ever take it personally, which is pretty cool. I tell you what, I miss her. Hope you're doing all right, TC. I love you. Rush and Neil Young are bands I came up on for sure. Neil Peart is a god among men. I tell you what, I'm a huge fan of Neil Peart. I mean, obviously I like Rush. He's the drummer for Rush, but I'm a bigger Neil Peart fan than I am a Rush fan. Nothing against Rush. I love Rush. But you know what I love about Rush? Neil Peart. That's terrible to say. It's true though. I wouldn't tell a lie. Did I tell you guys that I played guitar the other day and actually felt it in my heart and in my soul for the first time in 15, 16 years? I sold my BC Rich. What was it? Let me find it. I forget what it was called. I think it was a Beast. Yeah, it was a Beast. I sold my BC Rich Beast when I was 18 years old. And that marked me putting my heart on the shelf. And I only picked it back up the other day. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Now, this is not the exact guitar, but it's the exact body shape. Mine had a red bevel, whatever the outline is called was red instead of whatever that is, gray. But this was the guitar I sold when I was 18. Miss it. It definitely was not 1300. It was like 400. It was the starter version. But I love BC Rich. One day I'll have a sweet collection again. If I had never sold a guitar, I would have a sick collection. It wouldn't be like the coolest ever, but it would be a collection, you know? Um, Honestly, these days, if I could have any guitar in the whole world, it would be this one. Oh my lord, it comes in a double neck. That's so crazy. So they all these guitars come in so many different there's so many different like features and stuff. But this one, the BC Rich, I don't know, can I say that? Bitch 10. It's got 4 extra strings right here so that you've got this low end. So your lowest 2 strings, your thickest 2 strings are by themselves, but your highest 4, it's a 6 string, well, it's a 10 string, are like a 12 string guitar. 12 string guitars have 2 different gauge strings for each note so that you're like harmonizing with yourself every note you're playing, right? Which is it's a beautiful sound. It sounds so nice. But this is an electric guitar that has it only on 4 strings out of the 6. It's a crazy idea. They're very, very rare. They don't make them anymore. And one day I'm gonna have one. One day I'm gonna have one. I actually, Anita says you should write a book. I can hear you have a poet's heart, or write some music. I actually picked that day I was talking about. I picked up my guitar and actually felt it in my heart the other day. I wrote some music on the spot. That's what happens when I'm feeling it. Like when before I put my heart like away in storage, like I was just I felt was just a feeler, a deep feeler, a deep thinker. You know, not that I'm not now, but um, the fact that I can tap into that part of me again is beautiful. I thought that it would never happen. I thought I might have killed that part of me, you know? I'm definitely going to be writing music. I may or may not write a book. It's something that I've thought about a lot. If I don't write a book, I'll at least write some poetry, some lyrics, some riffs, right? I appreciate you saying that, though. It's the one thing that I'm the most passionate about above anything, really, I think, is music. I guess recovery and music. I was not always as passionate about recovery, um, but I am now, thankfully. Marcy says, I've always wanted to learn guitar. And long story, but not giving up on that. I tell you what, I think the coolest thing about guitar is that anybody can do it. You just got to put a little time in. Um, like it's not necessarily fun learning how to play, but once you get, some sea legs under you, it becomes way fun. It's just a little bit of a curve. Anybody can really play guitar. It's not like you need to be strong or you need to be this or be that. Literally, I'm pretty sure anybody can play with just enough practice. And another cool one of my favorite parts about guitar, music, art in general is like the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Your creativity is unique to you. One of the most unique things about you, if not the most unique. They say our fingerprints, our irises are unique. If there was a way to measure or like take an imprint of someone's creativity, there would be a one of one for every single one of us, 100%. So finding ways to express your creativity, I think, are some of the most beautiful things, beautiful gifts that we can give to ourselves as well as those around us. Pearl Sugar says, I write lots of poetry. I have some published too. I would love to read some. I tell you what's going on, JCC? Good to see you, man. I got these headphones on, so if that was really loud, I apologize. I got excited. How are you, man? Good to see you, James. Ever thought of building my own? A lot, actually. And I've come to the conclusion that it's an art all in itself. I think there's a name for it. I was going to say guitar making, but I'm pretty sure there's like a name for people that make guitars. Guitar maker. That didn't help. What is a guitar maker called? A luthier. Ooh, yeah, this is a cool word. This is what guitar makers are called. Um, I knew there was a cool word for it, but I've thought about that a lot. In another lifetime, I bet you I could have done this and had so much fun doing it, like as a career. But I don't know if that's for me in this lifetime. I think it's too late. You guys talking about hairstylists? I took an Uber home in the middle of the night from my 12-hour shift the other day, and this beautiful lady picked me up. She was very pretty, and we just like totally hit it off. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. We ended up talking about recovery and family trauma and like fun things and deep things. And like it was only a 20-minute car ride. It was pretty lit. And I was like, hey, she said something about like her main gig is with hair. She does hair. And I said, hey, who should I get my hair done by? I haven't got my hair done in a whole year since I moved here because I'm very nervous about it. And she gave me a card, and I'm excited to use it. All these, I guess you can't see now, but when I put my headphones on earlier, I had all these. I had like a crown of split ends coming out the back. I can't wait to take that stuff down. Take it off. Take it off. Ain't nothing like a good example, right? Play violin and piano. I love the violin. TC recently, I don't know about recently, has a cello, and I don't know how much time she spends playing it. But in my mind's eye, she's just the most wonderful punk rock cellist. I'm pretty sure that she struggles to find time to play it, but one day, I love the violin so much. I have thought about getting into a bow, an instrument that uses a bow. That's what it's called, right? The Yeah. Anyways, I've thought about that a ton because the sounds that they make, violin, what are the other ones? There's a bunch of them. I'm gonna draw a blank now. A fiddle. I think that those instruments are so much fun, especially like in bluegrass. It's the like quintessential piece of the whole puzzle. You know, Lacey. I've been recently considering getting into bass, um, but then I had that experience with my guitar the other day, and maybe I just put that one off for a little while longer. Banjo is another instrument that I just think is so legendary. That one string is like the fifth string is like half as long as the rest of them. I don't know what's up with that. Is that called a drone string? Is it? I don't know. Anyways, I think it's a very intriguing instrument, and I second this banjo harmonica combo. I I could get a harmonica pretty cheaply and mess around with it. To actually use harmonica as a part of an ensemble, though, you need like a harmonica collection because each harmonica is one key. So like I either if I have the A key harmonica, I can't play any songs that were in a different key, right? And there's a bunch of them. So you need like cases of harmonicas to be a legit harmonica player. I've been to like some country western shows with friends of mine where there'll be a guy who is that guy. He's like the harmonica man, and it's really something to behold. But definitely an investment in like knowledge and time. James, I like that cello rhymes with jello. I could eat jello while I listen to cello. Yeah, I could see that. 100%, John. Absolutely. I've thought about calling my old sponsor and telling him what I'm up to, but I'm like scared that he's going to denounce what I'm doing as like not legit because we believe in like harm reduction and you know what I mean? Like just like the differences between what we do here and the way that I was taught, like the way that he brought me up, basically, right? I like I don't want my thoughts of Wade to be mingled with like thoughts of his disappointment. Right now, my thoughts of Wade are mingled with his unending support and love. And that's how I like to remember him. But again, it's probably just in my head. Maybe I should hit him up, see how he's doing. No, Kristen, not necessarily. Kristen asked, did he say anything to make it seem like he was against harm reduction? No, but like he's definitely, maybe I'm wrong, but our time together definitely had me believing that he lives and breathes AA. He's a lifer. And that's cool. That's great. I'm not. Tommy Bird, this made me think of that thing that Jack Black does, the huge like toy saxophone. I forget what it's called. Maybe they've got the harmonica version. I'm scrolling up. I feel like I missed something. Um, John, what do you want me to put in the chat? I've forgotten. If I said something, I don't know what it was. Bagpipes, huh? I can't imagine. I feel like it's time for me to get out of here. But I also feel like I decide it's time for me to be done, and then I'm done very quickly normally. So I think I'm gonna announce that I'm feeling like we're coming to the end, and then we're gonna like slowly move into the end. That way, it doesn't feel like I'm running out on you guys. Because I thought about that the other day, and it probably feels like I'm running out on you guys. Dude, I hope so, John. I can't wait. I got extra pants in the other room. Today, what is it? It's like 1 p.m. here. I think today, when I finished tidying up the house because I like deep cleaned it and then I worked all those hours, so I just want to get it back to where it was. That should like take me less than an hour, like maybe like 30 minutes. I want to shower. I want to play some music, and then I probably want to stare at the wall. I think that's my afternoon slash evening. Oh, the Calhoun email. Okay, okay, okay. I hear you. Yeah, Kristen's got you right there. tobcalhoun@gmail.com. I'm already typing it. I might as well hit it. Thank you, Kristen. You're wonderful. And as far as Calhoun's Corner is concerned, I will be back on there, I swear. I don't ever want to come on here and like do a bad show, whatever that means. I especially, even more so, which is weird to say, don't want to go on my own channel when I'm like not feeling great. Like maybe I'll change my mind later, but right now, like I'll never go on. I will never go live on Calhoun's Corner not feeling good. Calhoun's Corner is going to be bright lights, smiles, dancing, creativity. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just how I picture it in my mind. I don't ever picture it being like we can talk about recovery and stuff over there. Like I might even do recovery content, right? But I don't ever want to be on there subpar. So that's why there's not a lot of stuff going on. I've been just trying to get things done at the beginning of the year this year. 2025 has really been slapping me around, but I've been trading some blows back. So I think we're winning. That being said, Calhoun's corner's not going anywhere, and I'll get in there as I find creativity and time. Flick Fox. I knew there was a reason I was waiting around. I was just thinking to myself, why am I not shutting this thing down? I'm done. There she is. How you doing, Flick? It's been a while. I was thinking about you today. I was going through my Facebook messages and there was your name, but your photo was all gone, like your account got deleted or something. So I was thinking about you because that happened like 30 minutes ago. Well, I guess not 30 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes ago. How are you? Hope this message finds you well. Right before we did this, I was catching up with Izzy, which I tell you what, we don't generally find the time to chat. So that when we do, it's pretty cool. I really enjoy talking with Izzy. Shout out to Izzy if you're out there somewhere. Okay, okay. I'll be looking out for your message, Flick. Sending you all my loves. We haven't done this yet today. Real quick, let's get some ones up, guys, for everyone out there that needs a little extra today. Anyone out there struggling? Anyone out there that just needs a hug? Whatever. Um, and then after that, let's hit the like, subscribe, the bells for notifications. If you like what we do here, it makes a huge, big difference, big old difference. And thanks for being here on the lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Shout out to the mods, the crew, anyone new. You guys are all the best. John, I really enjoyed farting around with you today, dude. Welcome aboard. And yeah, to the rest of you, much love. Let's to all of you, much love. Let's do this again tomorrow, huh? Hopefully on time in the morning. I'm gonna be shooting for 8 a.m. Mountain Standard. That's 7 a.m. LA, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard, if I'm not mistaken. So let's shoot for that. I would like to be doing that regularly. Um, all right, y'all. This has been the Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Get the heck out of here. Why don't you just get out?